65, 55, maybe a little lower last night.
Cool. When does winter hit?
I don't know. About a month away.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, you guys stay warm. Adam is back, so Adam, I'll hand it over to you, and I'll see you guys on the podcast.
I don't know if we fit next to each other, Cordell. There he is.
Hello. How is everybody?
Doing well.
Can you see me okay?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. I see you guys well. I can't quite see Coach to my left.
Coach Maquire. If we can up the brightness.
Hey, there he is.
It's because Cordell and I are taking up the whole screen.
Yeah. Doing a good job of that.
Oh, expand that back out, Steve.
Good?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You guys are good. It's so neat that I can sit here and Steve is in his place and he's controlling the Mac screen that I have in front of me. I'm not touching anything. He set all this up. Man, we got all this new gear. I want to try something. Watch this. So now when I do your introductions, can you hear the echo?
Yeah.
Introducing, starting, nose tackle for the Kodiak High School Bear. Kid at Christmas, man. I got all this new equipment set up in the studio. All the new mics are set up nice. It is so cool. I love this. This is so awesome.
It looked cool. I know it looked cool on the picture, but it looked a little bit like something out of the movie Saw.
Yeah.
On my phone.
Well, now that you said that, I was like, that's kind of creepy, man. Well, it is the cognitive cave.
It's creepy. I just didn't know. On my phone in the little, I hadn't expanded it yet, so we were a little bit busy. It's been an active morning here in Kodiak. So
I heard everything's on fire.
Yeah. Yeah, the fire started last night, I think about 9 o'clock, and it's already up pushing 3,000 acres. So it exploded.
How many people are out there fighting those fires right now?
You know, they don't really have the resources here. It's not usually a big problem. Usually we've had a really dry fall. So
it's burning.
Yeah, it's burned down. I know they've lost a couple structures there. I haven't heard if they lost the school out there or not, but that was kind of one of the things this morning that was going around.
They lost, it's confirmed, one house, the library, and the school is unknown. They think it's gone though.
Yeah, just got to stop burning. You can't stop it.
Never a dull moment.
Yeah.
I got that finally quote Tombstone live. Oh, I love it. Can we introduce everybody too? Coach Maquire, I did mess up last week and I called you the defensive back and you are the offensive coordinator, correct?
Correct.
And the head coach.
And the head coach.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that far cry from the defensive back coach. I apologize, coach.
That's all right. That's all right.
It's okay. He does that too.
And the massive nose guard there.
Yeah, Cordell Pillans. He plays defensive tackle, and depending on the defensive call, he might be at nose, and he plays offensive tackle. Cool.
Does the cyborg speak?
Yeah.
Silence is golden on podcasting.
We're burning up the air. Cordell's the senior.
What do you want to hear?
Oh man, I love it. How long have you been playing?
I've been playing since 4th grade.
4th grade, and you're a senior now, right?
Yes, sir.
All of your years on Kodiak?
Yes.
Oh, wow. So you can really talk to the experience of being a football player on the island of Kodiak, huh?
Yeah.
What would you say is most unique about playing football in Kodiak from what you hear and see on television or, from other high schools?
Probably just traveling off the island to go place people. Most schools get to take a bus ride, a few-hour bus ride, get back the same day or the next day, and we're gone. We'll leave Thursday sometimes because we have to go Thursday, Wednesday sometimes because we have to go with the ferry schedule. And so we'll be gone quite a few days before we get back. And just like the traveling is crazy.
Yeah, we talked a lot about the travel on the last show, a lot about it, and how that is a challenge that you all face, that is opposite to what most of the country face and what they go through. And I couldn't help but I have an automatic notion to find the silver lining in most things, and I couldn't help but think, could that be the silver lining that builds up to the family-like team to which I've heard Coach Lowery talk about Kodiak, and this year when it seems to all be uniting and coming together, could that rough travel play into, I don't know, the destiny it seems that your season is on?
Go ahead.
Anybody can answer. That's open, but whatever.
Maybe. I mean, a lot of it is most of us we grew up together. Most of us grew up here, and so we all know each other from when we all started playing. And so it's really like we are brothers because of how we grew up, and we're out of a small city, small town. So it's not like we have a huge amount of people to hang out with or talk to. Or it's like, same people.
Like a tribe.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I know I spent some time in the military, and when you're around a group of people that necessarily you don't have that much in common with, and we have a lot of diversity in the school, so the kids, when they're away from the sports, they're not necessarily hanging out, in the same groups. But when they're on those sports teams and they're on that ferry, they're spending that much time together, it breaks those walls down between them. So you do get that close knit type of family, which is excellent.
Coach?
I think the main difference, to expand your question, that you find in sometimes in the lower 48, you have a small town, and the smaller the town, the less diversity. Not so here. Here, there's actually more, and you have all types, from kids that come from the Coast Guard base or the 80% of the population that work various jobs in the fishing industry. And it is it would be surprisingly and welcomingly diverse in other small towns. And I think Coach is pointing out the difference. So from your aspect, and from, maybe staying on topic some with your show, that is part of the difference in this. They are exposed to multiple religions, multiple cultures here, from Russian Orthodox culture to Far East culture to Native culture, and that is a plus. And I think it comes out in a plus. But Coach is right. Like everything else, like you always knew when you were playing, when you got together, all that went away on the football field, and these kids do that.
Yeah, I had a pro MMA fighter on the show, Julian Williams, a couple of days ago, and we talked about that. He's from the small town that we're from, Pine Hills, Ocoee area. He was actually born in Cincinnati, but he's the son of Reggie Williams, 14-year starter for the Bengals. And anyway, he was a track star at Michigan State, champion, now a champion fighter. But we talked about, the camaraderie that we had at West Orange as a small football team. And although we were, two towns of opposite cultures and bred to be arch enemies since Pop Warner, when we met at West Orange, we talked about how none of that mattered. We had half the team rocking Rebel flags and the other half the team, rocking Converse and Dickies. And that made our team. And I was somewhere in the middle of that. But that made our unit, our team, that even just that little bit of diversity. So coming from Kodiak and, you named 6 or 7 very influential cultures right off the top. I can only imagine how much more, power that brings to the potential even of the squad.
Yeah, in teaching here, this will be my 3rd year teaching at Kodiak, and I've wrote papers for master's classes about the diversity. But the thing that I've seen that's most amazing, and it's a big tribute to the community and the parents here, is there's little infighting between the different cultures and that. And it just, you go through the day and there's very little problems that come from that, which is it's really nice to see.
If the world could only copy what Kodiak is doing on a cultural level and on a community level, perhaps not only can the football team, but also this small town, a blue-collar, middle-class fisherman could show our country the actual possibilities of blending cultures rather than continue to force opposition. But perhaps another show. I got an opportunity to listen to the game. The radio station I wanted to plug, but without my Steve here, I don't have anything. So if you remember the radio station, please plug them. But I got to listen to you guys play, and I was there. I felt like I was there through the whole game. I enjoyed it and immensely, but I always get ahead of myself. I don't want to get to the game just yet. I'm sorry. I'm in football play mode, and I keep looking at Cyborg in the middle, and I'm like, we have to talk football. But what was the travel like this week?
We were home.
Yeah.
What's that?
We were home this week.
Right. All right. You were home this week, but you had, was it Eagle River come to you this week?
Yeah.
So what was the difference then, Cordell, being able to stay home and prep for a game as opposed to last week, making the trek across hell and back?
We get a lot more time to practice and to prepare, and we don't have to ride a boat and a massive bus ride. So
yeah, so it helps then staying home. Coach, what was different in the game planning that you got to do by staying home?
Just the overall preparation is it takes a lot of pressure off because there's not so much of the logistics stuff to worry about. When you take 45 kids across the Gulf of Alaska, there's a lot of logistics in that have to be put in there. So it's a nice reprieve from that to stay home. And I mean, we had an excellent crowd on Saturday for that game, but I know Eagle River, they weren't too happy to come across to play. There were some quotes in the paper about how they'd rather not. So, and I think that that's a long travel home when you got when somebody hung one on you. So.
Yeah, I think we can hang it on the travel, but let's not forget that the Bears traveled the week prior and did them dirty. So, Eagle River, you can bitch about the travel all you want to, my friend. What happened was all those lights on the twinkling part of your board, they didn't change at all. But too direct. They just had a 0 is all I'm saying. And they
Coach Lowery, he whipped up a pretty good game plan there. They didn't move the ball too well on us. So
yeah, it sounded as if we had a pre-conversation, Coach, the week going into your planning. We talked, I think, Monday or Tuesday as you were going into your game plan for Eagle River, and holy, what was that?
Sorry, our ground is shaking right now.
Welcome to Alaska football.
It'll go away in a minute.
Okay. Well, you were talking about the game plan and how you're related to your mind functions half as crazy as mine at a minimum. So as you fired back and forth about what the coaching staff for the other team was going to be like, what they were going to do, what you were going to do, back and forth, you were ping ponging like crazy. I'm happy to be your ping pong ball, other paddle anytime. But as you got that game plan together for them, and got ready about, do you change anything? Did you stick with the game plan? It sounded that it turned out exactly how you thought it would.
Yeah, at one point, even coach came into me on the sideline. He said, "They are who we thought they were," and so, and we didn't. We stayed in our plan. We stayed on script, and I came off script against Nikiski once and paid for it, and gave up a long first down. But against Eagle River, we stayed on script, and we had every first, second, and third down tendency scripted ahead of time. We had given that we were home, also we had, Coach is right, probably a full day's less admin prep to do. So we were. We had the communications right. We had 2 coaches there that we normally don't have there that don't travel with us. So we had an extra coach in the booth. That made a difference, where I could start going over first and second and third down calls for next series while coach was on offense. And so the answer to your question is, we stayed on script, and they really didn't modify much. And matter of fact, Cordell took a cheap shot there at the end of the first half, and in our opinion, I'll just say he took a shot, and back into the ankle. He didn't play the second half, of course, because we wouldn't let him.
Yeah, I heard you were on the sidelines, and through the texting frenzy that was happening amongst our inner tribe, we knew you were still walking around. And so as long as you were walking around, I knew you were all right. You're just being held out, because it appeared the offense decided to throw some spikes this week, man. You guys were on point this week, Coach.
Yeah, with film breakdown and that, we've seen some things that we thought we could take advantage of, and it was there. It was there. We, however, we didn't execute to where we should have. I mean, we should have put quite a few more points on the board. We left some touchdowns out there on the field, let them slip through our hands. But we've been working on
head coach.
I don't know if we can do anything about that sign or that sound, Adam.
Wow. What is that?
I think it's some giant truck outside the door.
It's a
Is it a Cody?
compactor out there.
Is it a bear?
No. Could be. I don't know. There's a whole lot of them running from a fire right now.
Oh, man. Left field. Back to football while your auditorium is shaking. All right. So spoken like a true head coach, though. It could always have room for improvement, even though you put up, 20 this week, right, Coach?
We did, yeah. Yeah, we had some big drops in that game that should have resulted in points, but we've been working this week to try to remedy that. So hopefully we're gonna have to have it this week.
Yeah.
Who are you playing on Saturday?
We got the Kenai Cardinals. They're coming over from the peninsula. They got here this morning, and they're the big rivals. And it's been an interesting week. We had a chance to play the Friday night game tonight, but they decided they needed 24 hours to recoup off the ferry. So we actually end up playing tomorrow at 10 o'clock in the morning.
All right. Well, I can get that, especially knowing I'm coming to play a 2-0 team that just shut out Eagle River 20-0, and then whoops the team the week before that we're supposed to kill them in the monsoon. Yeah, I'm gonna ask for an extra day too, Coach. I'm sorry. And then there's sidewalk in the middle. Yeah,
but it's funny because we don't get those luxuries. Next weekend we're going up. We play the defending state champs. We get off the bus at 9 o'clock. At 11 o'clock, we're on the field.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we get 2 hours.
That's it. And that's if everything's on time, we get 2 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Oh. Fuck that. I should have played you today.
Well, that's the thing. And do we, if we get the concessions that Kenai gets, we play on Sunday, so
wow.
We won't. We'll get off that bus.
Is this politics at play that giant schools with more money and influence can decide when and who what plays?
That's a very interesting question that I'd like to have a definitive answer for.
Yes. I can say that shit. Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely, that's why. My God. It seems like, look, I remember, oh man, I hate reminiscing about high school. I feel like that guy. But it reminds me, we were playing Evans. They were ranked, Evans Maynard were ranked second in the nation. Or second in the state, I'm sorry, and like fourth in the nation. And it was our second game of the season. They were supposed to destroy us. It was awful. And Coach Tim Smith at the time, who was a player at William and Mary, etc., had a long career. He coached you, right, bro?
He was a position coach when, I was much younger.
Yeah, and anyway, Tim Smith for Thursday was a home game. And so for Friday, what we would do pre-games, we all gathered in the weight room and we'd watch a movie, right? And so he played he played Rocky IV, the Russian, and it just fit because we were supposed to be destroyed by the Green Machine, and he was the machine. Well, we won 32-26, and for you guys going to play that team, when you're traveling, not is it this Saturday, next Saturday, not this Saturday, but the following Saturday, when you travel there, it's almost as if like you're being stuffed in the cabin in the woods, left to your own devices to train to fight a machine.
It's interesting. Soldotna is number one in our division, also number one overall in Alaska. So we're not only facing the number one ranked team, defending state champs in our division, but also they're number one ranked overall. They have beaten every Anchorage school they played this week. So this is very much a David and Goliath from the outside looking in.
You have nothing to lose.
My hypocrisy knows no bounds.
They have nothing. They have everything to lose. Cordell, this is the best place you go. I noticed I started smiling the more he gave kudos to this school. I'm like, yeah, that's how much more it hurts.
Yeah, sorry,
It's kind of hard to
the
hear.
sound went dead with this whatever's going on.
That's all right. That just forces trying to keep us down. I don't know. I wouldn't surprise them on some list somewhere. And especially after last week's rant on Alaska Airlines. What did anything ever come of that? How's the GoFundMe account looking? And anything coming in?
I'll check it. Yeah, actually, thanks to I'm sure your show and others, most of the money's from Florida right now. We're gonna check the. We're gonna check it right now.
If it's heck, for me, $10 would be something, to throw toward the cause of what you all are doing. There's a friend of mine down here. His name is Chris Beckemeyer. He played college football. I wish I could remember, but anyway, he was a year in front of me, and he reminds me of you, Cordell. He was our tackle and nose guard, and he was also our strongest tackle by far. He was every bit of 6'6", probably 290, and he was a wild man. And he played in front of me, and being a senior. Well, he listened to your podcast last week, and he has a rather large, pretty strong social media voice too. And he posted on there a reminder that your stories really moved him and really touched him in a way, and reminded him of his days. And he also forwarded that to tons of the people that he listens to that listen to him. But I thought it was really moving to have a guy like Chris Beckemeyer, who, if you knew him, he's not the most sentimental guy when it comes to being outspoken in a way. But he's always been a big teddy bear and one of my best friends through high school. But Cordell, when I look at you and I watch you play, you remind me of him. And you touch those stories and how long we remember the moments that you're sitting in now, Cordell. And being, I'm 34, he's 35, 36, and he can still remember those times when we're sitting in the same chair you were, with our coaches to the right and the left, feeling like we were going to battle every week, knowing we were also trying to deal with the forces of growing up as young men at the same time, trying to find ourselves and what we are, what we want, what we love, And knowing that no matter what, that the moments that we're living right now make our lives. And Chris reminded me of that, and you remind me of Chris. And so there's my minimal rampage for a minute, man, on the reminiscent of just telling you, man, enjoy every moment, every struggling moment, every lost moment, every wondering moment, because that's what you remember. How's the GoFundMe account looking?
It's up to $1,200. We've been told that if we can get some matching funds, that our local league and parents will help us match. So right now our goal is to try to get at least to 4,000. We're at 1,200. We'd like to say a big thank you to Mark Ledoux, whoever you are. Donated, somebody we don't know donated $500. That's one of our largest. We'd like to say thank you to Jan and Johnny Davis for your donation. Jeffrey Jimenez, Imelda, Anil, yes, the same Jan and Johnny Davis we know, Adam. And Mike and Sheila Robertson, thank you for the $100. Aubrey and Trisha Lowery, thank you for the $100. Thank you, Anonymous. Thank you, Annette Estes from Texas, from Saginaw, Texas. Thank you, their family. Thank you, Lisa Kraft, for the $100. What a wonderful donation from you in Florida. Thank you for the note to our team.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joan Sipple from Kodiak. So we those are some that we just wanted to, and the rest of the team, it means a lot just because there's some other donations on there. These kids know it. They see it. They see who's helping them. And thank you, Jeffrey Jimenez, Mike and Sheila Robertson. It's a big deal to us. It's every dollar. If somebody can just go on and donate $1, it will help us. We can get some matching funds and help, and maybe get, you saw us, we're having to wear practice jerseys right now. Although they look pretty good. The kids look good in them. You know, after they haven't had new jerseys in 12 years, it'd be nice just to get, if we could have, if just somebody will cut us a break on jerseys, that would be great.
If anybody out there that's listening, I know I have listeners all over the world, actually. If you have some connection on jerseys, a discount, a deal, a friend, a buddy, hell, if you're one of those old rich high schools that have nothing but funds, and you know you got a storage room full of equipment that's just sitting there gathering dust, I mean, maybe some new jerseys or some helmets, something is coming out of there. Just do something. You can contact how can they contact you guys if they want to donate actual things like jerseys or practice equipment or something like that?
They can go to the Boys of Kodiak football page. It's all set up through the 501c3. So for all of you donors that went to the GoFundMe, it is a 501c3 that you're donating to for Kodiak football. And they can contact us through the Boys of Kodiak Facebook page, or they can call the school and ask for me, Coach Lowery, or Coach Maquire.
All right. We're actually talking about a way to try to bring a little more awareness about what you guys are doing, along with some more funds at the same time. And we came up with an idea, Coach, that I can run by you, and we're prepared to back it up too, on a financial level. But what if we could put out some sort of survey or some sort of ballot that someone could fill out online, and they could pledge any dollar amount they chose to any possible happening in the game. Let's say we create a ballot of, I'll give you an example. The list could be turnovers, interceptions, touchdowns, completions, kickoff returns for touchdowns, whatever. And I can put a check mark next to any one of those happenings in the game, and I can pledge any dollar amount I want to for the amount of each one of those that happen.
Yeah, that's excellent. I mean, anything that we can do to try to, get like you said, the awareness and some funds so these guys can
Well,
compete.
it's a way. I think it's a way to keep them involved, because also what we want to do is bring ears and eyes to the game and to the radio broadcast of your games. So
Right.
what we can do is if people have pledged, let's say I'm going to go ahead and pledge right now. 52 is my number, so I'll flip it at $25 for every turnover that the defense gets this Saturday. The Cognitive Rampage podcast will pledge to. So what we can do, and my listeners out there, is go to my Facebook page, if you will, find Adam Lowery or the Kodiak Bears, and simply comment on the Facebook pages of how much money you're willing to pledge to anything that can happen in this Saturday's football game. Whether that's a sack by you, Cordell. You know what? Just for shits and giggles, I'm going to put $5 forward for every sack that Cordell makes himself, and $5 to every tackle that last week's guest Jake makes this Saturday as well. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
So now,
Thank you.
yeah. Now with that, what we can get our listeners to do is, do you know, happen to know the radio station? I need my Steve. Well, I need the
KVOK. That's KVOK Kodiak.
Okay, and I listened online. So if you just go to KVOK online, search Alaskan Kodiak football, and they'll come up, and you can listen to the game online like I did last week. And what you can do, go to the Facebook page of the Kodiak High School Facebook page or mine, but simply just pick something that can happen this Saturday in the game and pledge X amount of dollars you choose to whatever you want to happen or you think will happen, and put that dollar amount to it. And then tune into the game Saturday, right? It's 10 a.m. Pacific time.
10 a.m. Alaska time.
Okay, 10 a.m. Alaska time. You tune in at KOV online, and you can listen to the game and see how much you're going to have to donate because you pledged it to social media. And we will hold you on to it because we have bots, and we will screen capture what it is you say. So, yeah.
That's awesome.
Coach, I just need your permission to be able to run something like that that involves your team. So.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. KVOK online. The Facebook page is the Boys of Kodiak.
Right, and the GoFundMe account as well is Boys of Kodiak. If you're having trouble looking for it, as some people hit me up, if you go to GoFundMe.com, it's not the Boys of Kodiak. It's simply /Boys of Kodiak. The name of the segment we're doing on the podcast is called the Boys of Kodiak, but it's Boys of Kodiak at GoFundMe. You can easily donate that money. And like Coach Lowery said, it's to a 501(c)(3). And so it's a nonprofit organization that you're donating to. So this is tax refundable for you on that end. And be that a business too. Like I said, if you're a jersey company and you want to donate these jerseys, this is a tax write-off for you and an opportunity. And we will bring you on the Cognitive Rampage podcast. Heck, I'll read an ad for your jersey company all season every time we do a Kodiak video here. Every time we do a podcast with the boys, which we're going to do weekly for the entire season, donate your jerseys or something like that, and I'll read an ad spot for your clothing apparel company at the beginning of every show, and hell, even at the very end.
That's awesome, Adam. We appreciate that. That sounds great.
Oh, it's going to be fun. I think it's a way to get people to tune in, and because the game was awesome to listen to. It felt even the announcer guys, man. I couldn't help but laugh every once in a while. My mom texted me and she said, "They sound like the guys from Major League."
Well, that's about right. Yeah,
That's it.
Yeah.
It was good though, man. I was sitting in the cave and I was doing work as usual, working 16-hour days, and I'm sitting in the cave and just on the radio, I get to hear some crackling, some radio noise, some yelling in the background, little hooting and hollering. It was really good to listen to that. I think I'm wearing my NFL jerseys now, and I'm a New York Giants fan. Don't kill anybody, but I'm an 80s baby, and I was a defensive man, so Taylor, my man. But there's something about high school football that's pure before it's been, I don't know, corrupted and turned to something. There's something pure about it. Now, look, I'm not going to say it's not creeping into high school football, because there were things I heard in Southwest Florida between certain teams and doing bets where, rich parents were betting $250,000 on games, and coaches were throwing games because of these bets, and then some gangster shit was involved. But I mean, it gets serious in some of these places with high school football, no doubt. And we know this from Friday Night Lights in Texas. But high school football, in Kodiak, I'm seeing it's still that warm, small town place of honest football.
Well, that's just, when you look at the things we talked about, the travel and the commitment that these guys have to take to play football, they're doing it because they love to play football. There's no bets, there's no frills and all the lavish things that come with, big time high school football. There's really none of that here. It's just to the bone, love of playing the game. So it's awesome to coach. It's awesome to see on the field, and we love it. So,
Coach Lowery,
it's nice to coach some tough kids. It's nice to coach. I say nice. It's a privilege to. You don't have what you don't have here are some of the master booster influences, or ones that try to be influencers. You don't have. It is to the bone football. These families, some of these guys, grew up playing on the same field they're going to play in high school. So, aside from the, all the things you think about small time football, from Hoosiers to any other movie you want to think about, is there, but in a good way. And I, just from my own experience so far, it's been a travel back to why we play the game.
I think that's a powerful statement, Coach, of why we play the game. There's 2 documentaries that I suggest every coach and every parent of athletes, and hell, every athlete should watch. And these 2 documentaries are Bigger, Stronger, Faster and Trophy Kids. These 2 documentaries are done by a guy named Chris Bell, who tells an amazing story in Bigger, Stronger, Faster about the influence of wanting to be super athletes as children and the growth into adulthood, as well as Trophy Kids. And they follow these 5 or 6 psychotic parents that are insane about what they're doing to their children to push them to the next level. It's destructive. It really is. And, I'm a father of a 15-year-old volleyball player who competes. And when you travel in these volleyball travel tournaments, let me tell you, it gets absolutely crazy. You could have referees just for the parents. It's insane. It gets nuts. And so some of that is beginning, to seriously seep into high school sports. And what he covers in Trophy Kids essentially is the demand has become so strong for the scholarship, for the free college, that the children, are treated as if mule-like, as if they are to earn this, free education somehow. And, there's kids shooting steroids at young ages. There's, there's children going for serious surgeries, training 3-4 times a day like they're pro, athletes already. And I wonder how much of this, I've been wondering how much of this, takes away from the experience of high school.
Yeah, I think it taints the experience for those that are involved with it. In coaching in Maine and Montana, and that I've seen bits and pieces of it, rear its ugly head, and 90% of the time it's the parents, that are bringing that into the game. The kids, they just want to be out there and have fun, and that's kind of what I tell these guys is, hey, whatever happens, have fun. Win, lose, or draw. We obviously want to win. Everybody wants to win, but have fun, enjoy it. Most of these guys got one go around at it, so it should be. They need to make the most of it.
That's what I was going to ask you. What is your coaching philosophy?
Well, it's, to be honest with you, it's got to be an enjoyable experience, for them. And they're in the weight room, they're down at the field in the spring working out and that. And we got to validate that hard work for them. So when they look back on it, it's something positive that they did. Some of them play college football, some of them won't. But no matter what they do after they leave this program, hopefully they can look back at it with in a positive light. So I know that when I was in high school, I played 8-man football in a small town in western Montana, and I loved every friggin' minute of it. And there was no flashing lights and all that stuff, but just out there just playing football. So
honest football.
Yeah.
Coach Bauer.
I think to your first point on parents, as you grow in your coaching career, there's the bracket of professionalism, those boundaries that you conduct yourself within expand a little bit in a good way. And I think that you number one, if you decide to coach football beyond beyond where you think football, first off, it's not the kid. If you're going to be a professional at what you do, then you understand that any difficulty, quote unquote, or problem, and you'll identify with this in your mental health background. When we're staring at a 17 to 14-year-old kid, student athlete, whatever you might be, depending on your level, I think that your first responsibility is to understand that you are not, and your ego and all the rest is not involved. You can talk in the coach's office or professionals like you or Dr. Bird, who comes on your show, about the whys. But at the time, I think coaches first understand we're coaching the student athlete, and then second, we're coaching the football player. And those have to come together by the time they graduate to call yourself a professional and have done your job right. Sometimes that means tough love. Other times that means understanding why we're getting the behavior we're getting. And all that operates within your team structure. So the first answer to your question is I don't look at it if a player's having difficulty first as that's a difficult player. It's the idea of managing the team, but also seeing if you can manage behavior and understand, have a little more understanding with you than a judgment, if you will.
Is that
as far as
is that your philosophy approaching the individual coaching part of it? The merging of the two.
I think so. I think for me, it's having very clear boundaries at the beginning and high expectations. There's not going to be a day, and you know me well enough, that I'm not going to push these guys. There's not going to be a day that I don't think that they can't get just a half a second better on their reads, or a half a step better in their either their slant, or a little bit better form in their gap control, or and if they can understand that and develop that kind of habit, that's the things we know that folks who didn't play the game don't know, that come out of football. And that can develop into work habits. That develops from the weight room, like Coach said. So I think the philosophy is clear understanding, clear boundaries. We don't leave a lot of gray. And that creates a very solid place to exist. That's why the football field it is. It's a solid place to exist with a set of rules. And, with the idea of balancing out your mental motivation, some would call it your when to be that controlled but angry, controlled, vicious person in a good way.
That's again what Julian Williams, the fighter last week, said is what did he say? Laid back hypeness. That's what he called it, a laid back hypeness. Is how we train. You spoke to something I talk about a lot when I'm talking about parenting, and coaching can be kind of linked, sort of the same, but not. But how you coach the person and the performance. You coach the performance, but you value the person, and helping the players learn to separate that the value of who they are as a person is not based on their performance. And I think, a lot of those hardcore high schools that are driving this must win, must get the scholarship attitude of, either in here or get out of here, crosses those lines, and it really affects those kids bad, is that they start to believe that the value of who they are as a person is directly linked to their performance on the field. And I think at such a young age that can be detrimental to children when they're just growing into who they are. And then when they're taught that how you perform based on your performance in the game then values you as a son, as a friend, as a player, as a person. And I love both your philosophies, coaches, because they speak to coaching and nurturing the person and simply coaching the performance, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. I mean, I know the places I've been previously, my time here, a lot of kids don't have, a safe place. They don't have a place at home where they're comfortable. And that football field, it gives them a place where they can go and they're safe. And I, like Coach said, it's structured. It's the things that they need in their lives that they don't have elsewhere. And it kind of gives them an escape for a couple hours a day. And I think that's a big part of it. That's where, that true love for football, I mean, that comes with it.
Julian called that an exit.
Right.
You said an escape. We said that last week. We were like, escape. And Julian goes, no, Brian, it's an exit. Yeah. And that is so much more positive than thinking that like something is my escape or my vice. Like, no, it's my exit, baby.
Yeah.
Sorry, Coach, I didn't mean to interrupt you. That I thought you brought up that point to me. Sorry.
Yeah. So I mean, if you can foster and nurture that feeling within the kids, I mean, it comes a long ways. It brings those guys a long ways. And like Coach said, the skills are, and the attitudes that come out of the kids when they graduate, it's going to serve those guys throughout their lives. When they down the road, when they have a family, when they have those things, all these pieces, they all play into the behaviors that they show with their own kids and that. And when I look at youth football and, in some places on TV, wherever else it is, some of that, I mean, that's not a positive atmosphere. It's not positive for anybody. And I think it's sad to see, it really is, that it's been, commercialized to the point where it comes to that. So.
Well, that speaks to, college being the expense that it is. I mean, right. Parents wouldn't even in their right mind do that probably to their child if, $200,000 scholarship wasn't at stake and the importance of the college education wasn't so imperative, on top of the idea that it is not free. Jake, I wanted to ask you if I can touch into that heart buried in there. What football or what Kodiak or the coaches or the teams provided for you since you've been there since you were born?
You talking about Cordell?
Or Cordell, I'm sorry. I said Jake. I'm drifting.
That's all right.
Cordell, if you could do that for me. I don't know.
They've been a mentor. It's they've helped be a parent and teach you and stuff, and just these Coach Maquire and Coach Lowery being here. They've been some of the best coaches I know, and some of the most real-time coaches, and that actually know the game and do it strategically. And just words slipping through my head.
No, that's called emotions, Jake. Cordell, those are emotions. It's okay to feel those and experience those, especially with the two that you're talking about next to you, man. Look, I'll be honest, I'm verklempt. You just can't fucking see it. You start talking, man, and I got all watery. Man, I'm serious. I really do. Cordell, keep going, man. Please don't worry about if you can find the words. Just throw them out there, man.
I don't know. It's gone now.
Well, he wasn't bad in his first performance. As a matter of fact, we talked to VU yesterday a little bit. An old coach you'll remember, Coach Holt. who's now at Virginia Union.
You called in the big guns.
And but yeah, his first week he had 7 solos, couple tackles for loss, forced fumble, and interception return for a touchdown against the wing T.
Yeah, we discussed the nail in the coffin last week as
Yeah, you gotta, yeah.
And so I think Coach Lowery there referred to as our own Kodiak Bear had a pick 6. And so how big are you, Cordell?
I'm 6'5", 305 pounds.
Yeah, okay. Coach Davis was right. So how did it feel, man, taking the interception? Take me to the moment when you realized you actually had caught it.
It was get to that end zone. I don't know. I caught it. And I was actually surprised I caught it. I thought, I mean, our receivers dropped in. It was a tough day just because it was a storm. It was nasty out. So I actually caught it, and I was a little surprised there. I think the quarterback was more surprised than me.
Well, tell them why. You read you were in your gap control. You read the screen.
It was a gap control play, and it was a screen, and the wide receiver would come right behind where I was for that screen. And so I saw it was a screen pass. I took one step back, and the quarterback just floated the ball over the other D lineman and just stuck my hands up and got it.
And then walk me through the rumble tumble, man.
The rumble tumble.
Yeah, Chris Berman was in the background. They had him hanging on him a little bit.
The pick 6.
What about it?
Just tell them what happened.
How far was it? How far was your return?
It was 50 yards.
50 yards? How many of the players were you carrying?
I don't know. One of them got my leg in the end zone, and then I guess one of them tried to jump on my back or something and went over.
You speak of them like little pugs. One of them bit my ankle. The other one jumped up and bit my hip. 50-yard return for a 6'5". What was it? 260? You said
305.
Okay, excuse me. For 6'5", 305, 50-yard interception return in a monsoon is pretty athletic, my friend.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, okay. Somebody watching that understands how athletic that really is. Chris Beckelmeyer, I know you understand how athletic that is. We were talking about him earlier. But, man, so that was the pick 6 from last week, right?
Yeah.
All right, so we're going into this Saturday, and how are you looking, Cordell? What are you looking at? What are you looking for? Don't give away the game plan now. Don't give away the strategy, but what's your motivation, your plan?
I'm looking to do my job and make it easy for the backfield to get what they need to get done.
Wow, that is an ESPN programmed answer, just like last week with Jay. Maybe that's why I'm confusing you Manchurian candidate players here, Coach.
I thought he did very well.
It sounds like they've been coached. That's why I'm calling Cordell Jake. Next week I'll call Jake Cordell. They respond with the ESPN answers. I would like to give it to the players on my team and the coaches, and now you got to start paying our fans, Cordell, because you have them now.
Yeah, we didn't coach them. Honestly, we didn't coach them at all. That's the way they play. They know the philosophy. They know the whys behind our defense, not just the whats. They understand what we're trying to do.
You know, that's an important point in football coaching. I will point out. A lot of coaches I notice don't sell the why. They just say do this. And when, we all know the power in psychology of when you adapt to somebody's belief, right? And teams talk about getting the team to buy into the philosophy of the coach or the team itself. And the power of the belief is way stronger than most people give it credit for. It's spoke about so much that we don't think about how strong the belief really is. And Bruce Lipton, an author and a mentor of mine, speaks to this. And Cordell, I suggest you look him up, coaches too. But he uses this example of the power of the belief where he says, we all know a mother has lifted up a car to save her child, right? Well, we can say, well, that's adrenaline. Even so, it still wouldn't be possible. But ask yourself for a minute, did the mom think for 1 minute she couldn't lift up the car? Right. So we know it's actually happened. So that's the power of the belief that it can speak to about why we believe we play, what we believe our job is, why we believe we're doing it. And Coach, you spoke to bringing the players in on the why, not just the what. How's that served on offense and defense for you guys? And Jake, follow up after their answers too about learning why.
On the offensive side of the ball, it's the spread. It's a whole new system for these guys in that. So, the route combinations that we run in that, the why part of it, it's taken some time. We're still in the development of it, and but it's creating a better football player. It's creating an all around better football player, and it engages them in the game more. So instead of going out and I know I got to run a 6-yard curl and that's it. Why? Where's that backer going? Those types of things. So it increases their football IQ substantially.
Man, this is amazing. Last week you bring up football IQ, and last week Julian Williams brings up fighter IQ. I think you speak right to it, Coach, because you run the spread, right?
We do.
I love that offense. And the why you run the spread is to what? Control the ball, eat the clock up, keep it safe, and drive down the field and keep the defense off the field, right?
Well, what we got. Well, if you've seen the video of our team, Cordell, he kind of stands out a little bit. I think our next biggest guy is about 220. Yeah. And our receiving core, they're checking in at about 5'5", $135. So when I look at that, we got some quicks out there. So we try to get those guys in space so they can get those one-on-one matchups. And we got a heck of a running back, and if we can get that one-on-one, I think we'll make these guys tackle us. And so far it's been pretty successful. So that's kind of my philosophy behind it is use what you got.
I love that. I love that, Coach. For me, the spread offense has always reminded me of sharpshooting. You're just taking little shots one at a time, bam, bam, bam. Kind of like if you're a boxer and you're jabbing your way to winning.
Right. Yeah, and I mean that's what we're going for. I mean, we're on our way. I mean, we still got some work to do, but yeah, I mean that's just what we're trying to use the tools we got. We got a lot of small, quick guys, and they're tougher than heck. So
I would take tougher than heck many times over completely talented.
Yeah,
completely talented can be a pain in the ass to coach.
Yeah, absolutely. We gotta do a little better job catching the ball this weekend. But
that's how I knew I was never talented. I was easy to coach. No, Coach Lowery, the why of the defense. I'm assuming it's similar to playing to the strengths you got, but you have a ton of defensive philosophies. I know in that dome of yours. And why this philosophy for the team?
This was specifically designed, you and I talked about this too, for the talent level we had to accentuate, be strong off the ball, but accentuate our talent without saying too much of what we want to do every play. I think that we put together a nice hybrid that allowed for some simple coverage early in the season that allows for points of attack that are not complicated, but utilize the basic fundamentals of defensive line play, of linebacker play, that can touch on maybe what they learned at an early age. Something that we could get into and play right away without having to take an entire season to learn 5 coverages and 6 checks. So as the whiteboard went for the first 2 weeks of my time here in Kodiak, with 3 erasers going in the garbage can, it was one of those. How do I make all those things meet? How can I limit the number of checks in the defense? How can I keep it simple without being too simple? And how can I create the philosophy that they will understand, that they know from first level to third level what we're trying to accomplish every time the ball's snapped. And I think that we, from sophomore or freshman to senior on the defense, they're getting that, and we're able to start implementing some new stuff here even mid-season. You know how it is. You want to design that implementation or new designs, especially with the type of offenses you're going to face mid to late season within your conference play. Be diverse in your formation when you can, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that spoke to doing something play in and play out. I noticed listening to the game last week what was happening on a defensive side, even though I couldn't see it, was 11 men to the ball. It seemed as if the announcer couldn't even clarify who made the tackle. And I love that part. Cordell, it would be your name. It would be Jake's name. It would be 6 other names. But sometimes it would be no name. And I know from, being on talk, if you don't say a name, it's because you don't know the name. And it sounded like the announcer struggled to really make out who was making the tackle. It just seemed like a lot of jerseys to the ball.
Yeah, everybody's been going to the ball. It's been a really great time with the defense because nobody's being lazy. Everybody's getting to the ball as fast as they can because it's why we have 8 turnovers in the first 2 games. It's we get the first person to hit them, keep them up. The second person comes over and cracks them, tries to get the ball, and then everybody gets there. Somebody's going to get it. So
I'm going to bring up history that Coach Lowery doesn't know that I remember. When you took the job in Marathon, Coach Lowery, you told me one thing that you were going to do as you described the misfits to which it was you were coaching. And you said, we are going to lead the state in turnovers. And I took that, and you damn sure did. I took that into my first coaching gig as a defensive coordinator, and I brought that in, and I said, you know what? We're going to lead the state in turnovers. And we ended up doing about 8 to 10 turnovers in the first 2 games, similar to you. But we had a squad that, like you mentioned, Coach, we were 5'5", 135. I did not have a Cordell at all. I had Nick Dotson and Jared Swartzen. That's it. I had 2. But, we did that. And that idea of swarming and using the whole team as a unit, as really as football's meant to be, served my purpose well. And I see, Coach, that's serving your purpose well in Kodiak.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's these guys, I talk to them and I'm like, hey, we can't control anything. What happens, we're not going to be able to control what the Kenai Cardinals do tomorrow, but we can control what we do. And the one thing we can do is hustle, and we can get to the football. We can play our butts off. And if that's what you do out there, if you leave it all out there, you're busted by the end of the game, then you've done your job. You've played to your potential, and hustled hard. And it's really shown on the defense. I couldn't be happier with those short fields and all those turnovers. So,
and 7 players go both ways, don't they?
Yeah.
7 go both ways.
I think 7.
Go down.
Either way, half of your squad is on the field the entire time.
Bigly.
Yeah, and it's
Josh.
Yeah, and they keep getting it out. When that first game when we're down there, our backs are against the wall, they're all in there. They you can't get them off the field. And they're dog tired.
I don't think people understand how tiring it truly is to play both ways in a football game for 4 quarters, and you find yourself in the 4th quarter. Look, there is no second win. You're on like your 9th freaking life.
Yeah, and some of those guys, they're starting both ways, and they're on special teams. They're on the kickoff and the kickoff return team. So,
oh my God,
they're getting a lot of football, a lot of snaps.
Are you keeping pickle juice on the sideline, Coach?
No pickle juice. Just a lot of trying to stay hydrated.
Keep that pickle juice on the sideline. You start cramping, all right, Cordell? You start cramping, you down you half a jar of pickle juice.
Last week we were told to keep apple vinegar or apple cider vinegar for cramps.
At least eat dead pickle water.
I'm just going to make some kerosene and camphor gum.
Oh, great Granny's cure-all. If anyone out there knows what kerosene and camphor gum is, tell me how to make it. My great granny, who lived to be like 602, she used kerosene and camphor gum for everything. And
I got some.
you have some still? I'm telling you, this stank bottle sat in our garage as I through my childhood, and it would be for everything. It would be like, oh, you heard something? Go get the kerosene and camphor gum. And it was like this old school brown bottle, as if it was discovered on a shipwreck 1,000 years ago. And it had tape in the front of it, and this tape on the brown dark bottle of fucking potion, kerosene camphor gum. And you could apply this, and I still stand by it today. It worked. It worked. So if anyone out there knows what kerosene and camphor gum is, please let me know or something before Big Pharma knows. For my God, they'll own that too. But yeah, that's funny you bring up kerosene and camphor gum. So what time's the game tomorrow? We got 10 a.m. Saturday. Look, we still haven't talked football about last week and walked through the game. Coach Lowery, I know your playbook notepad is there next to you to walk us through quarter by quarter. Am I correct?
I don't. Yeah. Well, it's in my folder, of course.
Well, last week, if you heard on the podcast, you could hear the pages going whoosh, 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 across as you were flipping through the game notes.
Oh yeah, absolutely. As far as tackles and yards, we gave up on defense about 60 yards, and we gave up 2 first downs. I think that if I'm going from memory.
To be clear, it was 20 to nothing Kodiak victory last week, Saturday, right?
That's correct.
So 20 to nothing, you end up beating Eagle River, who is a larger school, who stepped down to play you. And you were coming off last week's victory, 25-15, and the nail in the coffin, pick 6 by Cordell here, sealed that deal. You were supposed to be destroyed in both of these games, and still the Kodiak Bears stand here now, triumphant. And I have a feeling we're following some Friday Night Lights type thing going on here with Kodiak and who they're playing, and especially this week. So walk me through a little bit of the game. Take me to the highlights of the game of last week, and I listened to it, so I'm biased, but talk as if somebody wasn't there. Anybody, feel free to jump in as you're saying it.
Well, we started out. They kicked off to us, and we ended up stalling out on our first drive. I went for it on 4th and long, much to the chagrin of Mr. Lowery over there. But I wanted to get him early, and they got a turnover right off the bat. Second drive, we scored. We drove down, and Isaiah Galindez caught a quick slant and took a heck of a shot from the outside linebacker. And just snuck in.
Coach Isaiah is maybe 5'4".
5, yeah, right around there. He's one of the bigger ones.
He's and took a shot going across the middle and held on to it.
My daughter's 5'9", 130.
She would start.
She would start.
She would be on the line. Yeah.
Side slant receiver or the fade guy or the fade girl.
Yeah, and then
she'd go up and get it. Yeah.
He's a volleyball player there. That'll help. Sorry, Coach. So you have a feather, takes a shot across the middle.
Yeah, we got that one in, and then like Coach said, they had a heck of a time moving the ball on us, and we scored the second drive. We ran a screen, and Jay Miranda, the running back, made an excellent run. Yeah. He probably broke 6 tackles on that run.
Yeah,
he caught it. It wasn't a very good play call. They'd been blitzing us, and they didn't blitz. And he got hit right when he caught the ball, but he broke out of that one, cut all the way across the field, and scampered into the end zone.
He'll want that. You would have liked the run. From a defensive guy, you would have liked that tough. He just never stopped his feet. Could have went down 5 or 6 times. Coach is right.
Yeah, it was excellent. He's a tough kid, good running that fast. So, and then our last touchdown, it came off of the quarterback. We had a pass call on from the 3, and he had rolled out, took it around the end, and snuck in for the touchdown. So, but in there in that first half, we dropped 2 in the end zone that should have went, and then a couple more. But
So possibly could have been sitting 35-0, no problem.
yeah, we should have scored. And then in the second half, we dropped 2 more big ones that we should have had quite a few points on the board.
Yeah, as I listened to the game, Coach, there wasn't really a point to where I thought the other team was even in the game. I had to be honest. They seemed outcoached by the second series. It was easy for me to tell that on a couple of plays. And then I saw, well, I heard, I could only listen to what was being called, but it was almost before halftime. The other team had already checked out of their game plan. And, you know, it was easy. I could see that, but it didn't seem to be at all. You know, I remember texting the sideline reporter, Noelle, it's over. And she goes, don't jinx them. And I'm like, hey, you can't jinx a sure thing. It seemed it's weird. You know, I could see the chess match. I could hear the 3 plays called, and then I knew my brother would be like, "Yep, did what I thought you would," you know, and it was it. And then you guys would be back in, and it would be bam, bam, score. And you know, you hurt yourselves on offense with a drop, but never once did they shut you down. And then you came up with big plays. I mean, I don't know. It was a ass whooping.
Well, right off the bat, when we stalled out on that first drive and they got the ball, and we shut them down immediately. And that was because there was a lot of unknown going into that game, because they were big physically, a lot bigger than we were. And right off the bat, I was like, yes, this is what I was hoping for, you know, that these guys. And then as the game wore on, their true colors showed out. We had one kid that was yelling at a crowd. He got ejected out of the game. But then, you know, and our guys, they stayed out of that, which was good. I mean, they're smart enough to step away. So
what I like to say when a person decides to yell like that and act out, imagine if there was a pit bull in the corner and we started backing down on it, it would start growling at us, looking like it was angry, but instead it was just a scared little dog. And so when somebody starts barking and yelping like that in front of everybody, all they're saying is, hey, look at me, I'm a terrified, hurt, scared little dog. And then your whole team does nothing. They sit there quietly. And we talked about last week being there's nothing more crazier than a psycho man except a controlled psycho man. And it seems like the Kodiak Bears remained respectful and calm while psychotically whooping their ass.
I'm proud of our defense. You know, you're right, Adam. They can. You know, they care enough to secure the tackle than to search for the big hit. If that tells you something, for any football player out there, any football coach, to have a group of guys that will focus on securing the tackle first, instead of searching for the big hit that leaves their feet and maybe gets the ooh from somebody. They get it. They get it. The defense gets the larger goal here.
Why?
And you know that. If you played linebacker, if you played defense in your lifetime, doesn't matter what level, you understand what that means. Or if you coached. And I think that's important. I mean, they got frustrated even with each other, the other team did, and our kids did a good job of staying out of that stuff. You know, guys that are pumped up playing a ball, huh?
That's coaching, you guys. I mean, I'm giving kudos where that goes to. That's pure coaching, head coach down philosophy. If a team does not interact with fighting and that kind of bullshit. So kudos to the coaches for that, because you're not going to give yourself credit. So I am.
Well, I was disappointed, although I understood. And one of their kids was one of our kids put a big hit on one of theirs on a play. It wasn't malicious in any way, but as we were informed, it was against the rules because he didn't lead with his hands. But certainly wasn't malicious. And, you know, they started, you know, cursing at us and our crowd and you know, unfortunately, but you know, we didn't react. I mean, he got hit, and I understand you get frustrated, no problem. The point was making sure he was okay, and then I guess they got so frustrated. Unfortunately, one of their athletes got ejected for fighting with another one of his teammates. So that he wasn't ejected for fighting us. I want to be clear with that. our kids did a good job of staying out of the fray. And I guess they unfortunately got, you kind of feel for another coach when that happens.
Yeah, I get that. But still, as a player, you gotta keep your head, man. Things happen in a contact sport. Coach, I thought maybe I cut you off if there was some more offensive highlights and some players that you wanted to point out. I think you got to the first and second quarter, and then my ADHD took me to right field.
That's all right. No, our quarterback Andres Carros, he grew up a lot last week. He had a nice game, threw the ball well, and Gio Martinez, junior wide receiver, he had a couple big catches, and we got back Tyler Whitfield. He was a senior. He is a senior this year. Was our go-to receiver, during the summer when we were thinking about, how we were going to attack the season. And he ended up breaking his toe this summer, and he just came back. That was his first game of the year, and so he's getting back into form. And so yeah, it was a good effort by the guys, and we just we got some things to work on, that's every week. So
it sounded like the O-line was given some time this week or last week.
Yeah, that's the offensive line played fantastic. I mean, they did a lot of blitzing. We did a great job picking up the blitz, sliding our protection, and that's 2 games in a row with no holding calls against with so yeah, the offensive line has done fantastic.
With a spread, that's difficult. So I mean, you're passing so much and not a hold call yet in 2 games.
Yeah, and I mean the quarterback, he takes off once in a while, and in that situation, those holding calls they'll show up, but yeah, we haven't had one. So
kudos to the offensive line coach. Who's the offensive line coach?
Mark Schneider is the offensive line coach. He's coached at Kodiak off and on, since they started football here. We brought him in this summer, and yeah, he's done a fantastic job. So
that's off to
AKA Redbeard. We call him. The kids call him Redbeard.
Well, hats off to Coach Red Deer for getting the offensive line to give some time like that and letting the quarterback get adjusted. Coach D, any defensive standouts? Any highlights you want to point out?
It was a real gritty, blue-collar type win for us on defense. Everybody, I like that we. The surprise was how well we played in our gap control formation. I think that was a good surprise. I expected a few mistakes there just because, and the guys did well. I thought we had a linebacker that didn't play week 1 that came in and played well for us, that answered the call. We had a feeling they were going to run out our weak side and our will. And he stepped up pretty good and held the line well. Didn't catch too many blocks.
Now, so what you said on the phone they were going. Did they attack the weak?
They did. They tried it both sides. They tried to establish the dive early with the wishbone and then attack the will alley, and pretty much right. Fortunately for us, down the script for us, and. When you're able to defend someone and stay in a base look, then you're not overextending yourself with the blitz. We don't blitz very often, and the kids were playing. The guys up front were playing well enough where we didn't have to do that.
Now, is Cordell the defensive player of the game from last week?
Well, I would say probably the first half. Yeah, he didn't get to play the second half, but. I thought our corners did a good job setting the edge. Again, if you looked at the stat line, as a matter of fact, one of the guys from the radio station said, well, even though you only allowed 2 first downs and you shut them out, we couldn't pick a player of the game. So we went with an offensive guy.
I thought the same thing. I text Noel and I'm like, well, who? I'm like, I don't know who you're going to pick. I don't know. Can you pick a squad and just say, the receivers, the defense, hell, I don't know. It was hard for me. I listened to the whole game, and I thought, well, okay, good run, good receiving catch, but the O-line allowed that to happen. Your front four's sticking it short. I don't know, man. Difficult.
No, that's a good place to be, I mean, when all those groups are playing together like that, I mean, that's what you want, that team unity. So that's not a bad thing.
So, any highlights from the game stick out to you, Cordell?
Tyler's hit.
Yeah.
Tyler had a really nice block. Just those little things. I mean, there's a lot of really good plays.
TFL. He had a couple TFLs.
There's that one right before halftime.
Yeah.
Bigley caught a hold of his leg, and then I creamed him.
Walk me through it, man. Walk me through it. What happened?
They were doing, I don't know if it was like a sweep or something, but somebody got to the outside, and so he tried to cut back in, and Bigley like dove and caught his leg, and I was full sprint and plowed into this kid.
It was a quick option to the outside. They tried to get off a quick option. Corner came up, set the edge. He went for cutback. Our wide tackle dove and slowed him up, and Cordell the whole time from the middle of the defense was in full sprint pursuit, and yeah, he finished it off pretty well.
Ooh. And I probably would say that the guy or the kid that you hit probably didn't feel you hit him as much as he felt the ground hit him.
That's true.
The hardest I ever got hit was on a play like that by a guy like you named Brett Williams, who plays in the NFL now. I thought I had an outside run. I decided to plant my foot and cut backwards for the tackle, but all bit of 6'7", 325 pounds, who also ran a 4.9 40, was making a beeline at me, and I stopped to turn around. I don't remember colliding with that wall, but I do remember bouncing about 6 inches off the ground. That's when I learned, when I got up and they looked at me and they go, just squint and walk to your color. That's when I learned how you play through that shot. I stood up. I couldn't see anything, but if I squinted, I could see the colored jerseys in a patch, and I knew we were wearing green. And so I squinted and I walked toward the green patch.
That's it.
Just remember that, man. That's one of those shots. Oh, God, I can see that poor guy. Leg caught, dangling there like a piece of meat, and wham! Changes his life.
Yeah, we've all had that moment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh,
If you played, you had that moment where the world went fuzzy.
I don't think I've completely come back from that. I still have to squint to find color. No, I really enjoyed the game last week, and so this Saturday again you're playing at 10 a.m. and who's on the menu? Kenai, what are they called?
Cardinals.
Kenai Cardinals are on the menu for the Kodiak Bears this Saturday. I'm trying to do my Major League Sporting announcement voice as we come to the end of this podcast. No?
Yeah, Kenai, the Cardinals. It's another conference game for us this week, and they're historically the rivals of Kodiak. I know last year they beat Kodiak 58-6, 56-8. So they hung it on Kodiak last year, but I think we got something for them.
Woo! 56-8.
Yeah.
Oh man, I got a feeling it's going to be reverse.
Yeah. I mean, we seen them this summer. We went up to a camp on the peninsula. We seen them. They're a good football team. This will be the best team that we've faced yet.
Okay.
So
better than the opening team.
I don't know.
No, I think McKiskey's.
I think so.
I hope so.
I don't know. We'll find out.
I'm gonna defer to the head coach, but
You're playing is always the most important week. I think Coach is right. The toughest team you're playing is the week you're playing. I'm gonna stick with Coach.
They're a good football team. They get after you. We're gonna get everything we want out of them. So,
what are you expecting? What are they gonna run, pass? What are they gonna do out on you guys, Coach?
they're gonna bloody our nose. They're gonna line up. They're historically a power I team. They reversed that into a little different formation, but we're gonna see even counter tray they run. Old school counter tray, pull the guard and tackle, yeah. So they're gonna come at us, they're gonna test us.
You're gonna have fun, Cordell. They're running that one, buddy. It's your anchor in the front end.
Yeah.
Oh, they have no idea, do they, Cordell? They have no idea.
Not yet.
Oh, it's going to be fun listening to you guys on the radio again this Saturday at 10 o'clock Alaska time. people can tune in. It was the radio call again.
KVOK.
KVOK Alaska Radio. Tune in at 10 a.m. Saturday morning. That's tomorrow. We're recording this on Friday, so you'll be listening to this on Saturday. So tune in today then, and listen to the boys play. What I suggest in the middle of the podcast, I'm going to bring back up is to tell everybody that, look, we just pledged $25 per every turnover that happens tomorrow. I think I even pledged money toward every time Cordell and Jake make a sack or a tackle. So what we're asking people to do is go on social media and find, it's a Kodiak High School Facebook page, Coach?
No, it's the Boys of Kodiak Facebook page.
All right, the Boys of Kodiak Facebook page. Go there and make a comment, if you will, on anything that can happen during the game. I don't care if that's a tackle for a loss, an interception, a 50-yard pass for a touchdown, a pick six, whatever. Pick something that can happen in a football game and pick any amount that you want to and donate an amount of, and pledge an amount of money toward that. So pick any of those things. And then those of you that see those posts that you like and you also want to, you can then pledge money toward that same thing happening. To, if there's, say someone puts $100 toward every interception that happens on Saturday. Well, if you like that, you comment next to it and say, I pledge to that too. And then that way you can just build on those pledges and we will hold you to it. And then what we'll do is whatever we can stack up or whatever you pledge to your post, we'll talk about on the next podcast, and we'll bring you up and talk about those parts of the game, whether it's interceptions, tackle for losses, who knows? How's that sound, Coach?
Hey, that sounds awesome. And once again, I just want to say how much we appreciate all the support that we've received to this point, and you giving us a chance to tell our story in that. So it's been fantastic.
Well, no, thank you, necessary. It's a pleasure for me because honestly, it's anything that can help the kids out. That's where my heart really lies in doing what I do, or any help. So, and if it's not us, to be truthful, it's those that are actually choosing to make the effort, and go to the GoFundMe account /Boys of Kodiak and make that donation to help these kids get off of these treacherous ferry rides, stop from being sick before playing games, and possibly get them jerseys that are newer than, 13 or 14 years old. Like I promised before, if there's a jersey company out there, a t-shirt company, if you can make new jerseys happen, I will read an ad for you at the beginning and the end of this podcast for the rest of this season, if you can make those brand new jerseys happen. So find a way, go to GoFundMe, please. Donate to the boys. They need your help. It's going to be an amazing season. It's been an amazing season at 2-0 already. Going into the arch rival this Saturday at 10 a.m., the Kenai Cardinals are about to become 3-0 on the menu of the Kodiak Bears. Coaches, any last words, shout-outs, or love before we sign off?
I'd like to send a thank you out to Mike Lambert down in Seattle, who sent us a couple boxes of refurbished football cleats up this fall. I know some of the kids in that football cleats, and I gave them a chance for them to get a nice set of Nikes and that to play ball in. So, and
his name again?
Mike Lambert.
Mike Lambert. Is there anything we can promo for Mike Lambert that he does?
I can't remember what the company is, but they take in NFL shoes, college shoes, and refurbish them and give them to those in need. So I'd just like to send out a thanks to him.
All right. Thank you, Mike Lambert, for doing that and getting those boys some good shoes on their feet. Coach?
Thank you to all the donors, our supporters here, the KFL. Appreciate those that are making the matching happen for the North Pole trip. And
we're going to turn into pumpkins soon.
Thanks for the continued support.
Yeah, just thank you. It's really awesome to have the extra support and the notice and the help with everything that's going on for traveling, and it's really cool. Thank you.
No, we appreciate you all coming on and sharing your stories and your journeys with us. It really it's my favorite podcast of the week to really do. To sit down and reminisce on something as honest as the football in Kodiak, Alaska.
We appreciate you having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Cordell, good luck tomorrow. Do what you do, baby. Do what you do.
I will. Thanks.
All right, go Bears.
Go Bears.
Go Bears.
Appreciate it.
All right, we'll see you guys next week, man.
All right. Thank you for having us.
Hey, I really enjoyed talking with the boys of Kodiak. We're doing this special podcast every week to follow the boys. They have some listen to me, I can't even talk. Treacherous travel coming up that they do on an away game. They actually take an 18-hour ferry boat ride and a 10-hour bus ride to play a high school, North Pole High School. And this is pretty much the standard of travel. Their first week, they traveled a 10-hour ferry bus, 14-hour ferry boat ride, and a 2 to 3 hour bus ride. And they're sleeping in sweaty gyms. They're having horrible food, the best that they can to support it, but nothing that's really comfortable. These kids get seasick on these ferry rides and then are asked to play a game the very next day. Alaskan Airlines and some other airlines, I think like Raven, could possibly work a deal for them to be able to take the cheerleaders on these away games too. They can't take the cheerleaders and those that participate in football and away games because they can't afford it. And I think it's the cheerleaders' rights as well as the boys of Kodiak to experience high school from a football perspective. But anyway, keep tuning in each week. We'll be doing this podcast every Friday and releasing it on Saturdays before they play. They play on Saturdays at 10 a.m. Alaska time, and they are on the radio online at KOVA, I believe. Listen to the podcast, it says it. But I love talking to those boys. We'll stay with them every week. Next week, on the show, we will have sports psychologist Dr. Jan Burt. He will be joining us next week podcasting to talk about what this kind of travel does for the psyches of these young gentlemen. Again, thanks for listening.